So today's topic is what I talk about with the guys. Okay. So is fear a part of your ego? Before we go there, can we define fear? Treat people the way you want to be treated? Okay. You sitting down? I ain't seen you in a minute. Is fear a real thing? Fear, Okay. So
Fear is the spirit.
the spirit of what? Fear. Fear. F-E-A-R. Yeah. Okay, so he said, no, because he thought I was saying fair, F-A-I-R. I was saying F-E-A-R, yeah, okay. So, you saying it's a spirit, so it's false evidence appearing real, right? Yet, would you say that fear is a requirement for your ego?
Ego is another spirit.
So, do you need an ego?
Ego is everybody's worst enemy.
Okay, so where does confidence come in?
Confidence is being sure. Ego is something different.
So, but okay.
They say basically ego is basically the devil. It's the one who forces you to be the best version of yourself.
That's the ego?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, ego is like, it gives you false confidence in who you are and what your purpose is.
The ego?
Yes.
So what gives you the real confidence? What if the ego is speaking the truth to you?
My ego tells me to be so.
Okay, well, let me get your. Okay, an ego. Your ego tells you, okay. I have an ego who only tells me do this because you have to, and that's never a negation. It's just a force that gotta push me to do what I have to do.
I think your ego is not a good thing. That's what makes you kind of like not humble.
Too much of an ego.
Your ego is what?
The ego is what tells you to be offended about something. If somebody says something and you get offended about it, that's your ego. The ego.
Because they say you bruise your ego, right?
And that, if you're broke, if you're hurt, if you're broken, your ego be like,
The ego.
everybody go outside and see you like that.
Okay, so
Sometimes somebody needs to see you like that.
so would you say the ego has a bit of fear in there? Because if you say the ego's telling you don't go outside, that's a false evidence of what you said.
Right, but the ego is trying to keep you there. The ego is trying to keep you fearful.
Okay, so a piece of the ego is a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
Okay,
The ego
makes
is
sense.
also fear.
The ego does what?
It's also fear.
Well, he said it indulges. So that last one, the ego does what?
The ego feeds off
Feeds off. Okay, the ego feeds off of the fear. Okay, so would you say that the ego is similar to your emotions? No? Could you define it? So, okay, so would you say that everybody needs an ego?
You're so busy doing what you do.
Well, the definition is that ego is a person's sense of self-esteem.
Okay.
Self-importance.
Okay.
So that sounds like a good thing to do.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so what about confidence?
Ego and
Self-esteem and self-importance. So you need an ego to be able to do your confident things? Like the foundation? Would you say as a barber you need an ego? Okay. That's true. They're not.
You're not giving off enough confidence for you to feel good.
Okay, okay. So I know for me, when I used to do hair, I realized I made a conscious effort to not do it because you're touching somebody's crown, right? Go ahead.
So confidence is a firm trust.
In yourself?
Feeling a belief that one can rely on someone else's hand. So confidence has a lot to do with trust. That's what it says.
Okay. So confidence is trust. Trust in yourself? Okay. Are you confident?
Rely on someone or something.
So are you confident in your children?
I would say you're confident in something that you like. If you practice something over and over,
Right.
you can be confident in that. You can trust that you can perform because you know, like we cut hair.
Right.
You cut hair on. You can be confident that you're not gonna cut our head.
Okay, it's gonna be good.
Be confident
Because you did the skill set.
I trust my skills more than I trust the person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You trust your skills?
I trust the skill set more than I trust the person.
What you mean?
Because the skill set is something that's built over consistency.
Right, that's practice, consistency. Okay.
So you can trust in that a little more than people go off of feeling the emotions.
Okay.
Journaling.
So would you so would you say that as you okay, so would you say that the ego is still kind of tied in with the trauma, the emotion? Is the ego still there, or is it more fear?
More fear.
More fear.
More fear, but the ego is involved.
But let's say, okay, and I don't want to play on that trauma because that's a real touchy subject for everybody, and I ain't getting paid for it. So, emotion, you're, I get paid to talk about that, so I'm gonna hold that topic. So when it comes to emotion and the ego, the emotion and the ego, would you say that your ego is still big when it comes to your emotions?
I don't know. I don't really, you know, I don't really completely understand how you tie the ego and the emotions together.
Well, okay. So logic and emotion is supposed to be balanced, right? Right. So if you have logic, does logic bring in ego with it? Like, now let's talk about this. Let's sit down and have a conversation.
It could lead to that because over time, if you know you go off your own logic and you trusting yourself, after a while, sometimes it can create your ego can get involved because you feel overly confident about
Okay. So is logic more of common sense and intellect, or is it more of just intellect? Would you say that? Okay. Would you say that logic is intellect and common sense together?
intellect and common sense together.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So does logic ever add emotion? Huh? Does logic ever add in emotion? Right, they're supposed to balance, right? But let's say you're making a logical statement. Because I know when I did geometry and stuff back then, there was a logical class. Like if X equals Y, then it equals Z, whatever, right? Is there ever emotion in play when it comes to logic? You would think so? Give me an example.
For example, like emotion, everyone has emotion when they're making a judgment, doing anything. There's emotion, whether it's a good emotion or whether it's a bad. But we all have emotion. Everything will be.
So would you say that emotion's at the forefront when you're making a logical decision?
Pretty much.
Yeah?
So,
Okay. Anybody else want to?
I think so.
Is emotion, do you bring in, I think it was, do you bring in emotion when you're making logical statements or logical thoughts? Because logic, we said logic was common sense and intellect combined, right? If that's logic, does logic have any sort of emotion intermingled? Huh? Okay. play hand in hand. Okay, so let's say I was kind of want to piggyback when she said you have emotion with a logical decision. Let's well,
Emotional mixed in with a logical decision. With a logical decision, you make it something based off fact. Emotional is based on how you feel.
right,
If you make a decision based on how you feel, that might not necessarily include fact. So before you make an emotional decision, before you make a logical decision, you have to cancel out emotions. Because you can move the wrong way based on how you feel doesn't mean that that's the right way to go.
right.
That's the right way to think about it.
Okay.
It is the right way to think about it, but a lot of times, you know,
But emotionally,
because, for example, in a relationship, a person may see so much of red flags, which is logical,
Right.
because they see the red flags, see like, okay, I need to back out of this.
Right.
But yet still, they're not judging that on logics, they're judging that on emotion.
Okay.
I love this person. I feel for
Okay,
this
so, but wait, so but I'm gonna piggyback off of that because if she said the red flags are logical and the emotions are saying I love, I want to be, red flags are logical, right? Because you know it's not good for you. That's not a feeling. No, let's say red flag. Let's say one of his red flags is,
you feel that's a red flag.
no, a red flag could be. A red flag could be he can't pay his bills on time.
It might be a red flag to somebody else, not you. It might be a red flag to one person and not another. So that means that
But she's going with the concept of the woman who's saying she's seen red flags and her emotion is saying I love him, let me work with him. So at the end of the day, to me it's more the concept of the emotions are there. Yes, you want to put them into play, yet I get what he's saying because you don't want to make decisions based off of feelings because feelings change. Right? Feelings change. So even with that, what triggered me when she said that was you have to turn on intuition. Because your intuition, but that's still a human trait. It's still a requirement when you're dealing with logic and emotion. Intuition will steer you in the right way. Let's say she saw the red flags. She says she loves him, but then she got the feelings in her stomach, right? We were taught those are butterflies are good. In reality, that's the nervous system saying back away, back away, back away. Her intuition tells her he's not it. So she has to now trust her intuition and say, because my body says no, I'm gonna have to go. Butterflies is not a real thing. That's the nervous system telling you attack mode. This person is not for me. We were taught that butterflies, oh, that's a good, hey, is that what? No. That was actually just for us to get into these toxic situationships. When your body says no, it's a no.
Wait, please repeat that from butterflies.
Butterflies are not good. No, that's your nervous system in your gut. And it's telling you, move away. Yes.
When you say butterflies, like when you meet somebody and you feel like you really like them,
Right.
and you got butterflies,
And your body's telling you, they see what you can't see yet.
they tell you,
It's something different. It's nervous. So it's your nervous system telling you, okay.
you know how anxiety can be two different things, right? It can be positive or it can be negative. So you can be anxious that something good is about to happen.
Uh-huh.
You can have anxiety about something bad that you fear is about to happen.
Okay.
Why can't that be the good anxiety rather than the bad anxiety?
Because the body can feel and remembers what it could actually trigger or what it could tell you what not to go to. Let's say you find somebody,
don't tell you, your brain tell you.
the body remembers.
Your brain don't tell you to make a decision, right?
But okay, so let's say your brain tells you still have the spinal cord. The spinal cord sends 77 million messages to your brain every day, right? Let's say if your spine's not even aligned, you're not getting appropriate messages, first of all. Your organs are all under your feet, right? Your body tells you everything that you need to know, what you need to grow to, right? When you're meeting someone, and let's say it's the person of your dreams, but you didn't know, you're gonna feel a different kind of connection opposed to your stomach telling you there's butterflies. It could be your brain connecting to say this is the, you see what I'm saying? Okay. And I get what he's saying. I agree with him as well, where you have to separate logic and emotion, but yet you need to balance both to make conscious decisions.
Let me ask you this. Could it be your body recognizes the potential for love and your last relationship didn't work out, so maybe that's what the butterfly did. It's like
this could be something that could lead to where my last relationship led. But it don't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just means that I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable enough to love again.
So, before I answer that directly, I'm gonna peel back a layer. Have you healed from the last relationship? Have you addressed the triggers? Have you addressed the... Well, okay. So if you haven't, let's say you get into another one. Now you got body just, all bubbles, whatever. You haven't even addressed what you're rushing into from the past because you haven't sat with yourself to say, I was incorrect here. I need to learn some things. She taught me this. Because if it's not a blessing, it's a lesson, right? So let's say you had a big lesson and you thought this last one was the one. Yet your intuition would have told you there's something about her that she's not it. And I usually say when you're unhealed, you attract the mate from the parent you haven't healed from.
I can rock with you on that because my ex had the same exact birthday as my wife.
Yeah, what? Okay.
So I've been
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
So your ex has the same birthday as your wife.
Right. So
When's their birthday?
I'm attracted to something,
Well, what's your sign? Let me go into a little zodiac area.
I'm about Aries.
And what is your wife?
Gemini.
Okay, so that's fire and air. That's supposed to balance. Fire needs air to breathe. Air needs fire to move, right? Yet, if you know because you need logic. That's what you're needing. Air is in the mind, right? She can feed your mind as well as feed everything else around you, right? So you already know that this is the kind of individual you need as a complementarian. So you can apply her logic with your emotion. You see what I'm saying? So that's the balance, right? So when I was talking about the fear and the ego we said is more like the foundation of self-management, for lack of better, well, that's not a lack of better word, for self-management. You need your ego to...
Ego is your enemy.
So we're gonna get with him a little bit. So the ego it's a place where you have the voice of giving you confidence to try something new, right? Most times you need the ego to walk into a building. You need the confidence, right? You need the strength and the courage to say, I can do this. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So I remember the first time I went to the first barbershop, I don't know if I had an ego. I'm at a place in my mental state where why not take a risk? Life is too short. So I came into the first barbershop about a year ago and I said, hey, I want to come in, do some content. Why not? The energy was positive, so it wasn't that I was coming in with the, look at me and I'm going to set this up and this is what we're going to do and da-da-da. Yet, if there was a fear, I left it at the door because I knew that coming into a new establishment, I couldn't bring fear with me. I had to bring in the ego. I was like, okay, fear, you stay there. Ego, you stay there. And of course, the fear is a false evidence appearing real, right? So I had to utilize my emotion of my ego to say, hey, let's apply this logic to make it happen.
Do you think that was what it was, or could it have been something more than you or you?
Well, because we were saying ego is kind of like the foundation of confidence.
I never really did like that.
But it's a different way of looking at making decisions based off of whether you know a skill set or whether you don't have a skill set. You just go in and do it. Because sometimes people do things blindly and they do better at the blind things opposed to doing the things that they've already been practicing for like 5-10 years, right? Not knowing they could do it, they just went out and tried it. They had to use some ego, some confidence, and remove the fear because to them, it is real because I'm making it happen. So it's giving them that concept to take the risk of not addressing fear, but acknowledging ego. Right? What are your thoughts? I was saying, what are the thoughts with that?
I don't know. I guess when I hear the word ego, I think it has a negative connotation. Maybe it shouldn't. I don't know, but it has has a negative connotation where confidence has more of a positive
Okay.
connotation. So I guess that's what the silence might be about, because we're trying to kind of wrap our mind around
Right.
the idea of ego being kind of synonymous with
Right.
confidence.
Now, what about the word alter ego?
I can see how that might correlate more so, because if you have an alter ego, or if you, even if it's intentional,
Right.
like, you may have a little accent that you throw on people, you would say things with that accent that you normally wouldn't say.
So you, huh? So would you say, and you said you're an Aries and she's a Gemini, right? Would you say an alter ego is another personality that's created to allow you to get away with stuff? Okay. So that's probably a negative, the alter ego, opposed to the ego.
What if it's, you don't necessarily have to be negative alter ego. Maybe
He got the phone. Can you define alter ego? Yeah.
What if my alter ego allows me to be freer than my regular self? You know what I mean?
Right.
Freer.
Be able to have more confidence.
Words,
Right.
like what I say.
Be able to be more open to yourself.
Alter ego is a person's secondary or alternative personality.
Another personality. And what's ego? So I would say, right, but in reality, a lot of these terms are not really addressing.
Ego is a person's sense of self-esteem and self-worth.
Okay, so ego is a good thing. Yeah. He said self-esteem.
So if I call myself the best barber in the hemisphere,
That's you. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Ego is self-esteem and self-importance. But I feel like my ego tells me, first person disrespects me, I'm going to disrespect me. My ego tell me nothing.
So would that be your alter ego?
No, my alter
That's
ego
you.
is when I bring it here to show everybody else.
Okay.
Happiness and joy.
Right.
Really, that ain't what's happening.
I feel like alter ego
Okay.
is like your relationship. Like when you first meet somebody,
You get the representative. Okay.
alter ego.
So
The best side of you at first. And then when you live together for a couple years, that's the alter. That's the bottom of the
okay.
Just a regular ego. It's like shit. My head back straight, my shoulders straight, my head back to the, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a positive thing for people to turn to and everything. When you like, man, I'm better than all these barbers. And that's really just affirming that to yourself. It's not taking
Right. It's not taking anybody down. Right.
You know what I mean? But when you use it in a negative context, in a negative tone, you're like, yeah, I can't cut here. But
Right.
the best is what I do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But that's like the one of those people who thinking they go straight to the top, and that's the hardest, fastest one to fall quick. Right.
But you can't learn from nobody else.
Right. But that's that's right. You learn from everybody. I can learn a lot from and I have one of my quotes. You can learn a lot from a dummy when the dummy is you. And that's you not.
Emotionally, we'll go back to emotional life. So emotionally, I feel like that. But
Okay.
logically, I should know that my cup should never be full. So I can learn something from everybody. So
Right.
I can put my own
Humility.
feel about myself aside.
Right.
And then be like, okay, well, maybe I could do that a little bit different.
Right. You learn from each other.
Person that feel like emotionally I'm better than you, they not even gonna care that you guys are gonna turn each other. Knowing that they might need that little tip that you just gave them.
But that's their downfall. That's nobody else's.
Exactly.
So-
that's I'm saying that's the difference between, to me,
Emotion and logic.
emotional life.
Okay.